Hi, Thomas.
Thank you, buddy. How are we all doing? This is my first time in Tallinn. Can you believe that? No, exactly. And I promise you, we're going to get to know each other really, really well. So just to begin with, because these are pretty dark, tumultuous times, let's agree on that. So how many of you are hopeful about the future? Let me see some hands. Wow, you are an incredible optimistic crowd. I really wouldn't believe that. So word of the year, okay, word of the year. It's not artificial intelligence, sorry about that. Word of the year is reorganization, isn't it? It means you're getting fired. That's what happens all over at the moment, right? So the big question is, why would you stick your neck out for sustainability? Why would you do it? And I do actually think this, in sustainability, there's two reasons. Either you're dumb or you're very brave. Those are the two only plausible reasons. Dumb because it kind of feels a little bit like a Sisyphus thing, you keep pushing up the rock. Or brave because, let's be honest, sustainability kind of feels a little bit like an extreme sport these days, right? So the thing is, as our dear friend said here, I've been in this space for 20 years. And talking about hope, I'm not very hopeful. Because in so many aspects, we lost the fight. We wholeheartedly lost that climate fight. What's going on? If you look at it right now, one narrative is winning. One narrative that's about a time where white guys ruled the world and where oil was cheaper than renewable energy. So if somehow we haven't created a narrative, we're losing half the population. I bet you, all of you in this room, we're our little green cool clan, right? But we lost half societies. How are we going to succeed? How are we going to create the leadership if we don't get that other half with us? And it's a pipe dream, let's be honest. What the other side is doing, it isn't factual. I mean, unless you can jump in a time machine and you can go back to a time where men ruled the world and where oil was cheaper than renewables, it's not. So we need to come up with a new type of leadership, and that's what I'm going to talk about here today, okay? So, what is wrong with all of us at the moment? Sustainability, it's too perfect. We're demanding too much. So let me just try another little exercise here. So, how many of you think you have the perfect wife, husband, partner? Let me see some hands. Okay. I wonder if there's a correlation between those that was hopeful and those who kind of raised their hand there. I mean, let's be honest, the perfect partner doesn't exist. It doesn't. The perfect sustainable company doesn't exist. It's like a unicorn. It's not there. The perfect sustainability behavior isn't there either. If we think about it, we created this cold story that whatever we do, we get it wrong. Last week I was yesterday, I was in Istanbul. I love kebabs, but I shouldn't be eating meat. I flew here, I shouldn't be flying. But honestly, the narrative we're having today, it's doom, it's gloom, it's boring. Where's the aspiration? So the other side is winning. And even if we see what's coming out of the UN, hell, wow. Yeah, I really want to do that climate thing. We're going towards hell. Not very aspirational. So how do we move from here? I come from one of the worst, absolutely worst industries in the world, advertising. So it's a bit ironic to be on a stage, pitching sustainability. It's like being at a weapons conference pitching peace. My journey started a while back at the Climate Summit when we were hosting that in Copenhagen. It was a lot of fun. We had Tony Blair, Barack Obama, Angela Merkel. And, as an advertising guy, I thought, what's going to happen? And this happened, obviously. We kind of know that, sorry for those of you who work in government, it's not really like an engine of change, is it? So as our friendly moderator said, I wrote a book called Advertising. It was a younger Thomas, less gray hairs, admittedly, but it was a very, very simple premise. At that time, I believed that brands could actually do something about this. That was my sort of vision behind it. But let's be real, we failed. 20 years in, what has really happened? Not a lot. And I think the narrative that most companies, and you'll see this On every stage today, the tactic they're doing is this. Look at how damn good I am. It's kind of like Jesus. Jesus didn't run around bragging about saving that blind lady, did she? Or did he? So we're approaching this thing where we put ourselves up on the hero's pedestal and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to save all of this. And it doesn't really look good. I mean, here we got Richard Branson, right? Running around as an angel. This guy, I mean, when you saw him go into the Trump office, I was like, just another dead hero, completely. So when you fly this high, the chance of you falling down is pretty high. And I do think that we realize today that the emphasis and the challenge of being a CEO is not easy. Today, more CEOs are losing their job because admittedly, they are dinosaurs. They live in a different world. So how do we move forward? You know, when people tell you we're doing good for society, how to trust them? How to know if it's authentic? So I had to write a second book called The Hero Trap. And I brought 2 copies, so for the best question, I'm going to give some of these ones away. But how do you know somebody is authentic? If we think about this drive that, you know, you want to live more plant-based, you want to do all these things, but it's just so notoriously hard. And if we look at statistics, depending on the country, I don't know how it is in this country, but usually people always say, I want to do this and that, and then obviously we know it's not really going to happen. So typically there's a gap between the people who say they want to buy a sustainable brand and the ones who follow through, a gap of about 39%. But that's also an amazing business case. If we can figure out those 39%, if we can motivate people to change, it becomes much more interesting. So now I know a little bit about how hopeful you are. I know a little bit about your relationships. So now I want to know you even better, okay? This is good. It's my first time. I gotta know you guys, right? So what I want you to do, because this is about change, do you do New Year's resolutions? The thing before New Year, you kind of wish, hope for better, okay. I'm gonna help you out. It's 2 months, right? So I want to hear your New Year's resolution, and you need to shout it out loud, okay? I'm going to share mine, so it's fine, okay? I'm going to count down. 3, 2, 1. You know what? I heard people in Tallinn are the most beautiful, intelligent, and perfect people. But let's just give yourself a second chance, right? And just look really hard. Something you could do better. Maybe you took the taxi here, but you should be doing the bicycle. Okay, let's try again. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Who said, did you say 6? Okay, good. Okay. My thing was pretty basic. I'm traveling a lot and I feel guilty about the carbon footprint, so I wanted to learn how to cook plant-based. I don't know how much you know about Danish food. Anyone's? Yeah, I know there's this whole thing about Michelin star food, but when I grew up, Danish food was absolutely terrible. It's like heavy pork meat, it's like the sole of my shoe, thick gravy, potatoes overboiled, terrible. The only progressive thing in my family was that my dad was doing the kitchen, or the cooking. So here's a company that helped me out. It's a company called Årstiderne. And they don't talk about a plant-based revolution or anything like that. They talk about earth connection. So it's something I need to find myself. What they do, I'm sure you have something very, very similar in your country. They just deliver a box of farm fresh produce to my doorstep. But what's even more interesting is it comes with a recipe. So they're teaching me. It's not just transactional, it's transformational. They help me on my journey. And obviously, when I've done my little vegan pie, you know, I'm very happy to share it on Instagram, obviously. Even though the reality probably looks a little bit like this, and you won't see that on my Instagram. You can follow and you can test me, but I'm usually not sharing that. So it's fundamentally 2 different ways of leadership. Typically what I always see from brands, from companies, from governments is that they put themselves as the hero. Patagonia is a classic example, right? We're in the business to save our home planet. What a bunch of BS. I mean, honestly, they do t-shirts for people who love the outdoors, right? You're not saving the world. Quite far from. On the other hand, and this example might need a little bit of explanation, it's a mayonnaise brand that's fighting food waste, they're encouraging us to, you know, not waste our food. It's because it's from the US and UK. I don't know how much you know about those two countries, but they're terrible at cooking, even worse than we are. So they open the fridge, they don't know what to do with the foods, they add mayonnaise, bam, problem solved. So that's the case of that. So back to the authenticity thing. So I looked at how can we create a new model of leadership? A new way of, whether you're a startup, whether you're a brand, whether you're a CEO, doesn't really matter. How do you create a new type of leadership? So I looked to psychotherapy and I looked to coaching because those two disciplines are goal-oriented. And I came up with this process called the arrow. And for those of you who are not into marketing, let's skip this, but for those of you who are, you scan the barcode, you can get this little tool. But the most important question is, who can you help people become? So think about that. Who can you help people become? Is your brand helping people live healthier, more climate friendly, whatever it might be? And let's just test this out, because if a brand succeeds creating change in your life, it's authentic, right? It's just not an empty promise anymore. So I don't know if there's any of you who have a brand right now that has created some sort of positive change in your life. Anyone? Yeah? Yeah?
We do fermented drinks for gut health.
Fermented drinks for gut health. I like, that's a true advertiser, obviously picking up her own product. I love that. No, it's good, it's good. Improving people's gut health. Very precise, right? You're on a mission to do that, that's great, amazing. A lot of startups get this right. So I love that because you look at the human problem. A lot of companies started like that, but then they forgot it along the way. Good, gut health. Anybody else has a company that, you don't have to plug your own, you can choose one. Anybody? You need coffee, guys. Come on. Let's get some brainstorm going. There's got to be some company. No? Yeah?
Drink less coffee.
To drink less coffee. What? Yeah, that's a good business idea. Drink water? No. Tea, exactly. Anyway, so it's a different type of leadership. It's about not saying, believe in my company, but believe in your own ability to drive change. And the interesting thing, as I said, to begin with, right now, it's so sad because the young generations right now are split. I've never been at a point in my 20 years where I've seen the young generation, half is disengaged. So we haven't succeeded. A lot of young people don't want to do anything about this anymore because it's too much. The other one are rising up, but we need to figure out a way where we can get more people to rise up. Just going to tell you one quick example of a company who gets this right, who answers this question, who can you help people become? It's a health insurance company called Discovery, started in South Africa. Their little thing they promise all of us is incentivizing people to live healthier. From a health insurance company, that's pretty cool. So inside and outside the company, you can kind of feel that mantra. And the good thing is they have a program called Vitality. So it's like a reward program, but they reward you for healthy behaviors. So let's say you join a boxing class, you get rewarded. If you go down and buy a carrot, you get rewarded. So in that way, they help you on that journey. And so remember I talked about this dilemma between the people who want to do a thing and the ones who actually follow through and buy that sustainable product. Those 39%. The interesting thing about this company is they measured the actual change through this little health app on our phones. So people who take part in the Vitality program exercise 5 days more per month. So by taking this approach, there's a much, much higher chance for you being successful. So let's talk about IKEA. We all know what IKEA is famous for, right? You know IKEA? Yeah? IKEA? Yeah. What are they famous for? Breaking up couples. It's true. You cannot go into an IKEA store without getting into an argument. It's just 100% certain. So for those of you who don't have the perfect partner right now, and well done are you guys who have the perfect partner, but for those of you who don't have the perfect partner, do the IKEA test. Go into an IKEA store, see if you can survive that endless mall, and if you do, honestly, marry. It's gonna be love for life. It's the only test. No, obviously, IKEA is famous for a business model that makes zero sense in our super wealthy, privileged part of the world. Because what don't we have? A lot of time. What do we have? A lot of money. Why the hell, sorry the language, would I put myself at risk for putting a Billy bookshelf together? Doesn't make any sense, does it? Or maybe it does, because the answer is just under our noses. Because in fact, the thing that drives us the most as human beings is self-determination. There's nothing worse than a boss that tells you, you need to do this. We do things because we learn things. We explore things. So the brands that can support our growth, or the leaders that can support our professional dreams, are the ones that are going to succeed. And obviously, you know, as a Scandinavian male, and male roles are changing tremendously these days, you know, sometimes I want to go back to my old masculine roles and actually present to my partner that I can put this together, right? I don't have 5 thumbs, so when she comes home, the Billy bookshelf is there, and I'm very happy, right? And it makes sense from a change perspective as well. So we did a big piece of research in the US, sorry about that, where we compared 20 commercials that had we as a company are the driver of change, with 20 commercials that said, you are the driver of change. We're going to help you on that journey, and a baseline of 20 regular commercials. The really interesting thing is, double digits, people felt inspired to be part of the change. They want to know about the product. So why are we stuck in this sort of transactional framework? Why don't we step back from our high horses and stop talking about, I'm going to save society, I'm going to do this and that for climate? Because it's BS. And the young generations know it. Let's be honest, everybody is always like, oh, but we need purpose, we need all these things written on our website because that's going to draw in young people. It's not. Young people want to develop, want to grow. Purpose, sustainability is a little extra add-on. And the other thing, we shouldn't be talking about sustainability. I think we should commit to a swear jar right now that every time we use the word sustainability, we put a euro down there. Because we need new stories. We failed with the stories that we're telling each other. Where's the humor? Where's the empowerment? Where's the let's go do this? You know, at least this one is kind of funny, right? Because we know it's true. Apparently he just committed to an age group 28 right now. I think he went from 25 to 28, so I think he's going in the right direction. So last little model I'm going to share with you here today is, so how do we solve this? First of all, it's who can you help people become? Help people in a journey. So create something that's life-centric. Don't talk about all this world-saving stuff. It's not going to do anything. Think about what's close to life. That's why I love sustainability. Sustainability is about life. It's about living in a good community with people we like being around. And I think actually, if we remember back to COVID, I think we realized that the best things in life aren't things. And benefit, what's my benefit? You know, you're not just doing it for the blue of your eyes. You know, let's be honest. Give them something. Price, quality, and convenience works in the marketplace, and I've always done so. And lastly, when and where. When is the most opportune time that you can pivot people? So let me give you one example. This is from a detergent brand, right? What's so powerful about this little ad is, if you think about washing powder, and if there's any new moms and new dads in this room, you probably know yourself, don't go and splash in the pool, in the little puddle, you know, behave, don't make their clothes dirty. These guys say dirt is good. That's fun, right? It's empowering, and especially in a time where it's so sad that the new generation spend more times indoor than ever before. They actually spend more times indoor than people who are in prison. That's crazy. That's powerful, no? Or if we talk about food waste, I'm so tired of seeing another retailer or supermarket chain talk about food waste. Again, like, we care about food waste, right? Really? These guys do something really interesting because they teach us, they help us. They put this little stick on. Let's take the banana. So if you buy one that's too green, fry it. If you buy one that's almost like crawling out the fruit bowl, it's really good for cupcakes. Or what I like to do is I like to mash them up, put them on the frying pan, don't even need oil. Fantastic pancakes. It's that easy. Help people on that journey. So, as I said, I've been in this space for many years, as the gray hair sort of reveal. But in some ways, yes, we're faced with an interesting time. But on the other hand, maybe this is the best year for sustainability ever. you know? Got this guy, right? It's amazing. You know, I don't know, any Star Wars fans? You can admit it. It's super cool to be nerdy. Star Wars fans, come on. It's got to be one. Yeah, Star Wars fans, yes. So those two people can tell you a long story about how that red lightsaber actually signals the dark forces, right? And those are the dark forces. But isn't it great that we suddenly have an enemy? Because before, our climate movement was like a fragmented part, hippie part, something, do good. I don't even know what our movement wants. I have no clue. And so doesn't normal people. Normal citizens don't know what we want with them. So for those of you who have CSR programs or sustainability programs, call them what you want, I've never seen so interesting times for sustainability programs. This guy, he's called Justin Seitz, used to be the CEO of Kering and Puma. I love the guy for the change work he's done as a CEO. Recently he joined this very American legacy brand, Harley Davidson, right? Now meet Mike and his parrot. This guy would ride Harley Davidson. He seems like a pretty liberal guy, right? He got a parrot, he kind of looks cool. But Justin Seitz did a diversity and inclusion program within Harley Davidson. And I don't know a lot of people who care a lot about those types of programs, to be honest. But in the US, they do. So people got so angry that they went out and with a full automatic weapon, and it's on YouTube, go watch the video, it's absolutely scary and crazy and fascinating, shoots his Harley Davidson to pieces. So this is great time for sustainability, isn't it? People get motivated, you know, they're excited. Or take this guy, you know, the only guy who takes the chainsaw to his own brand. It went from one of the most valuable brands in the world, 30% down. So great times for sustainability. And if you need some ammunition back home in your companies, I did this piece of research looking, and it's probably one of the most substantial research that's been done to this date, looking at 10 years of the most effective advertising. We're not talking about sustainability, most effective advertising. ROI, not impact, ROI. It's 100 most effective campaigns over a decade. The interesting thing is, more or less 30 around those each and every year has a social or environmental component to it. And why is that? Because sustainability, or let's call it life, is an interesting ground to talk to people about. I mean, how many of us want to talk about a hygiene pad with a sucking power like a hurricane? You don't really share that, right? Oh, you should be using this hygiene pad, got good danceability. I don't really see a lot of those Instagram posts. But talking about things like, you know, women empowerment, about food, about not having microplastics in our clothing, all this stuff. It's powerful stuff. And even when we look at climate, I don't know how many of you have seen this Project 89 from Guardian, a lot of other news organizations. They asked people, how many of you are willing to spend $1 on doing something for climate? 89% of people said yes. So there is hope. There's a majority that if we put them on the spot, they want to do something about it. What's so interesting about this survey is that our privileged part of the world aren't actually doing that well. You'll see a lot of global south countries there. So these are not easy times. I grew up on a small island not too long from here called Bornholm. Anybody know where Bornholm is? Anybody been to Bornholm? A few Bornholm people there, yeah. It's a lovely place. Growing up on an island like that, there were primarily two types of people, fishermen and farmers. Fishermen and farmers. So whether people believe in climate change or global warming or any of this sustainability talk we talk about, it's not that important. But it's very important that for all of us that understands this topic, that we step down from this high horse and try and help the other side. Because if you're a farmer, why are we pointing fingers at the farmers? We eat their food daily, you know? We're hammering them home and saying, you know, do this, do that. Why are we pointing fingers? I think our obligation is to help people, to invite more people into this group than scare people away. And we need to reframe the narrative. The first thing we need to do is obviously fix the leadership, trying to help people, make it aspirational, make it fun, not doom and gloom. The best leaders I've had in my life have taught me new things. So I have 3 messages for you here today. Don't be a hero. Turn people into the heroes of their own lives. Secondly, if you want to communicate, skip the damn word sustainability and think about life-centric benefits at the right time and place. And I wholeheartedly believe that this is the best year for sustainability ever, because sustainability is super emotional. So by tapping into that, it could be a driver of change. And lastly, where does change come from? Any smokers? Anybody that? Some people here must do cigarettes, right? The good old cigarettes. Anybody? Oh, you're lying to yourself. I know half of you smoke, right? And the other half are nicotine products, you know. Don't fool yourself. But anyway, we know you want to get out of it. It's getting more and more expensive. Don't waste your money. But anyway, everybody can tell you, don't smoke. Your loved ones can tell you. Your doctor can tell you. What they try and do on the packaging is they put these cancer-ridden lungs on it. The only thing you do is avoid the imagery, like we do with the climate imagery. So the only one who can actually create that change is yourself. So I wish you good luck on your change journey, and I do really hope that we can get our climate movement exciting again and invite more people to take part of this journey. So thank you so much. I hope you want to follow my change journey, and you can learn much more about my mission by the little QR code there. Thank you.
Please give it up for Thomas Kolster. We do have time for a few questions. Do we have Janno Treger in the room? We got a question from Brella. Can I see you?
Maybe she's sitting online and she's sitting there with her cat, drinking herbal tea.
I can read the question, but I was hoping maybe to get it in person. How has the landscape of ethical advertising changed since you wrote Good Advertising? Are brands more cautious? Are they falling into the same traps that you wrote in 2012? And from Janno Treger.
Thank you, good question. I mean, the first book, 2012, it was a lot easier because at that time, not a lot of companies talked about sustainability or social issues. And obviously today, especially in our part of the world, everybody talks about it. And that's why I had to write The Hero Trap, because when everybody talks about it, when everybody says they're like a Greta Thunberg, who to trust? So that was sort of the rise on that. Right now, we're in a specific period of time because we do see a lot of companies being silent again, not being brave enough. And in a time where we need them more than ever. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Do we have one more question from the audience? Yeah. Please raise your hand. Yeah.
I have 2 books. I need to give them away to the ones who got questions. So we need 2 questions. Come on, let's get some questions. There's one there. Good. See, I'll sign the book afterwards. I'll jump down here.
I really would like to have a book. And Janno is my colleague, so...
Oh, all right. Okay. Good. You can take it.
The book to him as well. So thank you for the narrative. I think you have a really great story on stage. And I totally at the same page as you said. But at the same time, not using the but at the same time, I'm representing one of the biggest bank in our... and I feel that if everybody is saying that actually brands have failed and don't talk about your sustainability journey, then in the end we will all lose. Because working at those kind of big brands and corporates, you feel that, okay, I'm not sure what to say out and what are the reflections and so on. But in the end, like the sector will not develop. People don't give any good examples. Maybe there is no those kind of learning path. So yeah, I'm not sure about be quiet all the time and don't talk about yourself. So what's your opinion here?
So I didn't say be quiet. What I said was don't be the hero and turn people into the heroes. I think financial institutions are one of the most important institutions because if we look at the way we can make impact, I mean, who cares about the plastic bag? Doesn't really change anything on the plastic cup. Start with your pensions, where your pensions invested. That's the biggest impact you have. So I think that's a big responsibility. How can financial institutions help me refurbish my house, make it more energy efficient? How can you collaborate with fintech companies like Duconomy to show where I am on my sort of carbon emissions journey, to hopefully make me think twice about it, reward those types of behaviors. So I think about life centricity. How can you, as a financial institutions in Nordic, help open up all those gateways for me and talk about the possibilities and not the doom and gloom? So that's sort of where hopefully I see the future of this topic. Last book, come on, someone. A good question.
All right.
What's the name of my dog or something, you know?
So please,
there's
you
one
have
there,
your hands
there's
up.
There's one there.
Let's do a quick one, please.
It's good there's still people reading books. The rest of you, give me like an e-version or something like that. You can go to the website and you can get that. There you go. I'll sign it afterwards.
Thank you. I'm from Latvia, and my question, it's also a good story from you. And related to the story, my question is, what is your favorite character in Star Wars movie, and how to relate with sustainability? Thank you.
Well, thank you. I can tell you the one I hate the most, Jar Jar Binks. Sorry, any Jar Jar Binks fans, but that's my most hated character. I do think Yoda. I mean, you know, when I was a kid, obviously I was in love with Princess Leia, but let's not bring that trauma up in my life. I didn't get her, damn it, and now she's dead. Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. No, I would say Yoda, because Yoda is that character that, you know, empowers us, that says, believe the force within you, and helping Luke to find the good side. And so, probably that's a good little finishing remark. So, dear brands, be more like Yoda. Thank you so much.
All right, beautiful. Give it up for Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming here.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.